Hey guys, welcome to Nerd³ Podcast.
Judge will waive reading and enter a plea of not guilty, please.
Good. Works for me.
Okay.
So, hi guys! Sorry,
Hey.
we've been watching a bit too much Boston Legal, so you got that. I hope you enjoyed it. It's episode 10, podcast episode 10! Da,
Yes,
da, da, da.
wonderfully timed to coincide with our 100th comic.
105th comic, yes. The amazing 105th comic.
The 105th comic, the one we've all been looking forward to.
Yes.
Okay, maybe some of us were slightly busy making the 100th comic, and some of us were really
Slightly
busy
busy getting a job.
Getting a job. We're sorry for missing a week.
I'm not.
And now, on to the show.
So, what do we have this week?
You've got a rant, I've got a rant.
A lot of a rant now.
We've got an awful lot of question and
topics.
answers.
Yeah, because the forum, go on the forums. order.
And probably some site news, some stuff maybe.
Probably.
Maybe. We'll see.
We hit comic 100.
That's what we've got. Which doesn't sound like much, but we've actually skipped about
pad.
3 weeks worth of
We pad
questions.
quite well, so.
There's some good stuff out there too.
There's also some shit.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll work it out.
We'll work it out. Right, let's get cracking. What should we start with first?
Do you want to do your discussion first then?
Yes, we'll start off with, hang on, pause.
Go
Pause
for it.
for effect. Yes, I want to talk about the death of television.
The death of television?
Yes, the thing that's currently happening. The death of television. Television moving from its current form into the more online version.
Okay, carry on.
There's been quite a lot of hoo-ha about TV in different bits, and it's all come together, so it's a good time to argue about it. People are claiming, there's a big claim that people are pirating television shows because it's free.
Yeah.
That's not why people pirate television shows, and people who
It's
make
also
things,
very not free as well.
Yeah, and people who make things have to realise this. People who what you haven't got the grips of with is people pirate TV shows because of convenience. Because when you buy it legally, say on iTunes, you're restricted to use it only on iTunes, only on your PC, one copy, ever share it. It's so limited. If you actually sold TV shows for X amount of money, but actually didn't put any restrictions on it, just gave them AVR and MP4 format, it would be so much better.
Yeah, I think some of what you're saying is true. There is a lot of convenience for TV shows that you can see at your own convenience. I certainly am a huge fan of things like, being in UK, I don't know what the American systems are, but we've got BBC iPlayer, 4 on demand, and these things are things that I do massively appreciate over the TV programs, because you get to see them whenever you want, and you get to take your time, and it's just more convenient. The downside, of course, being, for BBC, quite frankly, if you get the iPlayer hits, that should count, because you're providing a national service, quite frankly. There's no way you can complain you're only getting iPlayer hits.
Yeah, iPlayer hits now count as of, I think, this year. Which Stephen Moffat harshly put through, because Doctor Who's still getting more views, it's just a lot of them are delayed.
So that's certainly something that has to be done there. However, I don't know, I think Channel 4 struggles from the fact that I remember certainly there being discussions on Chuck where they were saying that Chuck, I think, is one of the NBC's most downloaded to watch delayed, and yet the problem is that advertisers still don't quite... Advertisers only care about raw TV hits and don't care about the time delaying, and we certainly do need to work our way around that and work out how to integrate these things better.
Yes, but a point that came across, I think it was today, possibly.
Certainly.
That is, the UK has just made it legal to use product placement in television shows broadcast in this country.
Was it not already?
No, it wasn't already. That's why you never see it. It's always blurred out. But it's now a completely illegal thing to do. Apart from they have to have a little warning. If you see a little black square
that product placement there wasn't. That was actually the opposite way around. That was anti-product placement, the blowing it out. That's often on documentaries.
Yeah, but it's now you can. There's a lot of shows that are actually trying to fund themselves through product placement more than advertising. So there'll be a little P will appear in the corner of a screen for 3 seconds at the start of end of every show that had product placement in it. For some reason, I don't know, but that's the BBC and Channel 3 and 4 for you. But I much prefer product placement as a form of advertising than advertising, because adverts ruin TV. As much as I buy things on DVD, not purely because I can watch it whenever I like. It's because watching something, turning it on, watching the start and then watching the end without having the story broken up midway through is so much better.
I agree. Watching these things without adverts is an improvement, and there is certainly something nice about the fact that you've got that layer of things funding themselves through there. I mean, I believe Doctor Who made money this year.
It did.
And it makes no money from the TV show itself because there are no adverts, that's all paid for by the tax. And in reality, it's doing product placement. It just so happens that the product it's placing is its own toys and itself. It's product placing itself.
It is.
Which is perfectly allowed.
But now he can drink Coke and go, Coke, if he so wished.
I still don't think the BBC would go for it, but...
Well, it's completely... I don't think it would... See, if it's done well, then it actually can enhance. Like
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future.
The best piece of product placing of all time.
No, Wayne's World has the best piece of product placement of all time. They have an entire bit dedicated to the product placement. You've seen Wayne's World, haven't you?
I have. I try to forget it. I'm not a huge fan.
Wayne's World. They have the bit of the eating the Doritos stuff and dressed completely in night gear and stuff and wonderful things. But in Chuck, which you mentioned earlier,
yes,
with not the name, Sarah Connor. No, the other one, Summer Glau.
I love a bit of Summer Glau.
We all do. Eating that Subway sandwich was it Jeff and Lester staring on, which was such a funny scene. And it was that sort of ridiculous humour that Chuck's great for. But it fit with the product placement because Chuck has a lot of product placement considering it's set in a store.
It works quite nicely. And I have to admit, probably one of my biggest drives for wanting an iPhone has come from Chuck. And it works so well for them as a storytelling device. Especially as someone who doesn't know people's names, to have their photograph come up when they ring the phone. Oh my God, that is a blessing. No, names still don't matter to me.
I
just go,
voice,
the blonde who does the cool kung fu stuff. That makes so much more sense. Not that I'm sure who else could be Sarah in the Chuck universe, but...
The thing is that with the product placement, you don't interrupt the flow of the television show, and if you're watching a repeat or an old one and stuff, you've still got that force of the advertising constantly in the show. It even makes it onto the DVD, which means they can get even more money for it. Hell, if they remade Open All Hours and had every single thing in there product placed, they would have a mass amount of money.
Here's the thing.
Don't do that. Don't remake Product Out.
Here's the thing. I kind of like product placement, and, well, my first short film, which was 40 minutes long and not very short at all, but nevertheless, my first short film actually has about 3 or 4 places where I could put really strong...
The orange juice.
Huge place. The orange juice, but I also actually spend quite a lot of time talking about how fantastic suits are.
Yeah.
So if Hermione or someone had sponsored us, they'd, if I'd actually done anything with it, that would have been worth their while, as would the few other things I spent some time on.
The picnic food.
There was quite a bit of times where you were there going, there's things that I not only got in there, but I've actually spent some time on. But I'm aware that's not to everyone's cup of tea. It's also completely awful for sci-fi. Because it's really hard to product. I mean, fine for something like Chuck set in a superstore. It's fine for something like Gossip Girl, who
Fifth Element would have found
those
it a bit
things.
tricky.
But yeah, Fifth Element, you pretty much anything set in the future. I mean, can you really see, you're there walking around Battlestar Galactica and you're going, oh yes, look at that person. Look at that person on an iPhone. And it's brand new and shiny as opposed to everything else that's, rusting away and falling apart. And isn't there a rule of no interconnectivity between computers? Well,
Shut up.
no, that's ruined my show. And now suddenly Battlestar Galactica can't get funding because only shows are being funded through product placement. So there are definite downsides to product placement.
Yeah.
An idea I've had, which you will probably be against, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway. As TV shows are becoming, I mean, I think TV's at its height at the moment. That you look at things like Heroes and Battlestar Galactica, and quite frankly, they're better than quite a lot of the sci-fi films and things coming out. TV and film have never been closer. So here's my postulation: make all movies, all TV shows, a movie ratio of 2.3 to 1. Basically thin, really thin, and then use the top and lower bars. Use the top and lower bars to put adverts in the top and lower bars. Therefore, they can be part of they can be part of your viewing process, but you don't have to stop for ad breaks. And then when people rip your TV programs or you go online, you don't have that awkward system of there. I don't know if that would perfectly work, because the downside is you don't get their full attention, but it would work in the same way that you have advertising on websites, and would perhaps be something that would last longer in, as you said, if you made an AVI and let everyone access it, as long as you could track how it goes, which is your big problem, because otherwise you're going, well, apparently 3 people downloaded our AVI and then they spread it amongst themselves, and actually it met 3 million people. And then if you can only track the 3, the advertisings will only pay for the 3 and not the 3 million. So you do run into small problems there, but assuming you can work your way around that, then there's I think that has potential. If not, if you wanted to run a website where you had a high level advertising structure built into the website, where you actually earned points by watching. The amount that adverts actually pay is actually really small. So one would have thought that you could, if you were to set up a website, that you could either have a running reel of adverts for you to watch, and basically you watch those for several minutes, and you start clocking up points, which you can then spend to watch the new TV. Or you can buy points as well, instead of watching the adverts. And bearing in mind how much money you actually make, you could probably come up with a reasonable deal that would accommodate the people who don't have enough money to buy the TV and just want to watch the adverts. And you could also probably have enough money for and also be cheap enough that people aren't there going, oh my god, it costs so much. And you could probably come up with a good balance, and therefore you could then have pretty much what we're struggling with at the moment, which is the how do you get adverts without interfering with the show. And I think that would be a reasonable accommodation. I'm just saying those are 2 ideas. I'm more than happy, and I waive all rights to those ideas, if you happen to be a company going, that's really good, but what if he sues us? So I will officially say here, if you are a company and you wish to use those ideas, I have no problem with it. Go ahead. And feel free to use this in a court of law against me. Should I sue you, which I won't. Just keep making good TV.
Please.
And, this is the money.
Yeah, the thing about that is someone like me would just go, okay, advert roll 1, play, and then go off and do something else.
Yeah, you would
Which, to be perfectly honest, is exactly what I do with TV adverts. It's like, oh, the adverts are on. Let's entertain myself over here.
Well, I had thought about this, and to combat this, you'd probably have a refresh, so it would go with a point's worth of adverts, and then you'd have to refresh the page, and that would be 1-2 minutes. And so, just like you could go off and make a cup of tea or something,
or write a macro that automatically refreshes the page.
I'm not saying there aren't ways around it, but it would be enough
I like
to.
The system.
It's the best we've got, Dan. It's
yeah. Right. Another thing that I want to go with on the piracy thing, I want DVDs that you buy in shops to have a download option where you can just download what you've bought onto your computer / laptop / video player
things. They're sort of starting to do that, aren't they? With those
the digital downloads, yeah, you get the digital download ones, which I actually hate because
I know
you can
do.
download them in WMV, which is restricted, or iTunes, which is shit. So you have a choice of nothing or nothing. That's why I keep it. But the thing is, it's if with a box set you transfer it onto your computer, because when you put, I don't like watching DVDs on my computer because my CD drive's loud, and a lot of people have that problem. If you put it on and you got normally watching TV, it's like blah 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 blah, and this one you listen to blah blah. Fuck off. Yeah, I hate my CD drive sometimes. No, it's one of those really. If you just let them copy them over and let you transfer them completely free and legal, they have to stop thinking everyone's a pirate. I think is the issue, is because as soon as you stop assuming people are pirates and stop putting
here's a dirty
DRM,
little secret.
they don't.
This is something I saw on a wonderful interview with Gabe Newell, and he mentioned that. I mean, he was talking about Steam in particular. More so, but I mean, if talking about digital downloads, seems like a perfect thing to look at.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that if you lower the price of a game to a much lower percentage, you sell an awful lot more copies, and then you actually, when it goes back up to full price, you sell a lot more at full price than you were before. That you don't tap into theoretical buys, you actually buy into... Basically, his comment is, if you give away or sell for very cheap your product, you will actually sell more product as it's more expensive. Believe it or not, if you push his analogy to an extreme, he's basically saying that a pirated film that is good will actually sell more copies than a non-pirated film that is good.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm aware that we'll say, just for the purposes, Gabe Newell didn't say that piracy is. I'm extending the information that he gave.
But it's the exact thing, because I don't have the way I work, trying to get all my writings and videos and things done. I don't have time to sit down at specific times and watch specific TV.
That's true, and I do think they're starting to accommodate though with the iPlayer and that sort of
thing. But it's they keep splitting it off, and you have to buy 100 new channels and things. And I've got all the TV packages and things, so I don't, because I have the complete TV packages. I don't think, for me, pirating something off the telly there's a problem with it at all. I don't. Because
you're literally stealing.
I'm not literally stealing.
It's not getting any of its
what
money.
I do,
it gets its money through the ad revenues.
Yeah, and I specifically target adverts and go, I'm not buying you because you annoyed me during my TV show. And another thing is, but the thing is that I get all the whatever shows I watch them, and the best ones I buy the box sets of. So this year I'll be buying Better With You. Raising Hope. I love Better With You. I'm sorry. Raising Hope.
I'll give you Raising Hope.
What else was good this year? And it is being good
Doctor
this year.
Who.
Doctor Who. I have
already
on Blu-ray.
have on Blu-ray.
I've brought Back to the Future like 6 times this year as well.
Yeah.
I've brought the Christmas special of Doctor Who, which comes out
about 500 copies of Scott Pilgrim too.
Scott Pilgrim. Yeah, I have Scott Pilgrim every format. It's that thing of the best stuff. I don't pirate movies. I go and see movies. I don't like movie pirates.
Here's the thing, right? I actually have. Obviously, we can't endorse pirating, but
and we don't
in a theoretical world where pirating is okay. I would prefer someone to pirate a movie because the number of DVD sales for movies, and particularly half good movies, is actually much higher. So therefore, I think that movies really struggle to be able to get out there in the first place, and therefore. Sometimes half of the budget of a movie goes into advertising. Quite frankly, if less than half of their audience goes and sees it for free, but then tells all of their friends about how good the movie is, they actually make a substantially bigger profit in the people who are going to see it. Okay, that's just a mathematical model. That's not me even recommending it. That's just me saying that's true. Yeah. Okay, now if we extend that even further and say, that those people, and that's just talking about cinema sales, and then that the people who pirated it are then are then likely to buy it on DVD, which I think does also happen. That if you then buy it on DVD, even if you didn't see it at the cinema, then that money is also becoming an even bigger part of those films. In essence, my comment is getting your movie pirated and known. is much better, can be much better for you financially.
There are two things.
So, hang on. So that for movies there is a very clear strength, whereas with TV, you're making all of your money by people watching it live. That's the thing where that's how they make their money. They don't make huge percentages of their budget doesn't come from DVD sales. So although I'm not trying to say don't buy it, obviously buy TV shows that you like on DVD. But the thing is that I watch an excessively large amount of TV, and I don't have an excessively large DVD collection of TV. It's only the top of the top that I actually buy on DVD, and I think both you and me are above the national average on how many TV shows we have on DVD.
Yep.
I think film, lots of people... Well, yeah, I'm not denying that there's good stuff that I'll buy, but it's not everything.
No.
I mean, well, let's go with you. Have you got you've got this season of Doctor Who because it was really good?
Yep.
You've been watching Doctor Who since Russell T Davies took over?
Yep.
How many of the series do you have of Russell T Davies series?
None. I didn't like them enough to buy them.
You see, but you did like them enough to watch them and talk to me about them.
And consider it my favourite TV show of all time.
Now, in this particular case, I'm guessing you watched it live, so that wasn't a problem. And it's also BBC, and as long as you're watching it, they don't care.
I play a Doctor Who.
And back in those days, it wouldn't count. So, quite frankly, you were stealing money, or you weren't, like I said, because BBC doesn't advertise. Yep. But if it was any other channel, or if you were watching BBC in America, where the BBC does get money for advertising, I think.
Yep. Someone
can confirm me with that in the comments. That would be nice. What on earth is BBC America? I just know it exists. So yeah, hang on. So yeah, the concept of, because there's such a high level that you have to get to for me to actually buy DVDs of TV series, and for most people, and because of the fact that they primarily make their money by people watching them live, to an extent you actually do quite a bit of damage to the shows. And like I said, this whole conversation comes from the fact that TV is actually taking a much... Whereas to an extent we're sort of the opinion that films make a big deal out of things that is possibly, if anything, works in their favour. Whereas we feel that they are doing damage to the TV market, and the TV market has to adapt to handle the advantages so that they can offer a similar service while still receiving their income, which is what we need, because otherwise there won't be those great TV shows.
Yeah. That's why I'm all for the license fee. Big up the license fee, because the BBC make the best English TV shows. Yes.
Sometimes.
Name something on Channel 3, 4 or 5 that you watch.
Misfits.
I hate Misfits. We're well aware of this.
I know, but
carry on.
I really
Keep
quite
naming
like
things.
it.
Keep naming good quality TV that is up there with Doctor Who, Sherlock, Top Gear, all the fantastic things that the BBC produces.
There was actually something I was watching on BBC on competing with Top Gear. At the moment, I prefer 10 o'clock live, which is Channel 4.
Why is that live?
Why is
that live? It shouldn't. It would be funnier and better if they recorded it a few hours before it went up and did a few edits.
It is a fantastic show, which, in my opinion,
right.
because it's talking about politics rather than cars, beats Top Gear. So I will counteract that with that. I will give you that the BBC's Doctor Who at the moment is better than Misfits.
Doctor Who is better than anything.
But I am enjoying both of them, and I do think Misfits is a competitor, even though it's not a victor.
Yep. Going back a bit to your TV, your film, and how film should get sent out a bit more. There are two things that I think movie producers are missing. Number one is release the first 10 minutes of your film online. Free, legally, distributable, HD.
Yeah, how wrong do people get trailers? For some reason, even movies I like, I watch a trailer and I go, oh. Teaser trailers are fantastic. The number of times I've loved a film because of a teaser trailer is huge.
Yep.
Number of times I've loved a film because of an actual trailer is pretty low.
I mean, out of all the trailers I've ever seen, the Cloverfield trailer is my favourite. because it was only from the first 10 minutes of the film.
Well, in general, I think you should write trailers. It's like there are some.
No, but you can have the trailers and stuff to get in there, but you should release, maybe even show it on TV. Have like half-hour show dedicated to the first 10 minutes of the new blockbusters on BBC on a Friday night. Show these are the first 10 minutes of blockbuster. You sit around and go, oh, that looks good. We'll go see that. It would make a much, much bigger increase in film. And
what you have just said does sound like an amazing TV show and is something that I would watch.
We so have to get going on this. I think we should pitch this.
Brilliant.
It's ours. By the way, we're not wavering that one. That is ours. We said it here.
If you come up with that one and haven't got in contact with us and asked us,
11:23 on the 1st of March 2011.
If you come up with that one and don't come in contact with us, we will take you to court
and
use this podcast as evidence
it be a great idea?
against you.
Yeah, you just have it on about 10 o'clock at night, seeing show. You don't want to go for the horrors and the thing. Maybe you do. You have it on later on if you want the horror ones. I don't care. But
you could do double hour. You could do 9 o'clock to 10, and then for kids. I don't know. You might actually have to do it in. I like the idea of doing it in blocks. So you could do your here's our family friendly hour.
Yeah.
And then, which would probably have to be 8 to 9. Is 9 o'clock watershed or is 10 o'clock watershed?
9 o'clock, I think.
Okay, so you could do 8 to 9.
Or maybe 10, because it's 10 o'clock live.
You could do
I'm trying to think of what time shows are on now.
Yeah.
Top Gear's on at 9, so I'd say about 10 then.
Yeah, I think
or
it's...
Top Gear on at 8. Oh, it's great. 9 or 10, it's somewhere around
Anyway, if we did something along the lines of 8 to 9 being the kids' TV and family friendly, and then the second half would be...
have it midnight-ish and have like more. Well, no, you don't want the horrors and things, but you want that sort of.
Unfortunately, you do want the horrors and things. You want everything.
You want everything. You want to have the kids ones, the teeny ones. Oh, they'll go over there. The kids ones, the more. So you want the U's and the PGs as well, the 12s and the 15s, and then the 18s at night, about midnight-ish.
Yeah.
And so you have maybe just like in 10-minute sections, so the clock will tick round and you get the half an hour slot across it. But having a 10 minutes of the movie instead of a trailer...
Actually, that would also work perfectly for much as we said we love BBC and that would be great. If you were to do it on something like Channel 4, you could even then have the advert breaks time so that you could have enough time to text all of your friends and go, we have to see this weekend.
Yeah.
That would be fantastic. You can then have advert breaks every 10 minutes and we would like it.
Yeah.
So we have just given you, after just telling you this, come on Channel 4, pay us.
I'm actually going to write an email channel about this. You'd get money from the studio. You'd get a great thing because it's technically half an hour of adverts. But if it's a 10-minute chunk of a movie, you can get a much better idea of what something is from the first 10 minutes of it. It's one exception, Brutal Legend. But you can get a much better idea of the first 10 minutes and go, oh, that looks a bit good, doesn't it? And you know what that means? People are going to write some freaking amazing opening 10 minutes of shows.
The reality is that a lot of openings do work quite well. I mean, you look at The Matrix, that's a good opening. Back to the Future's a
terrible opening.
I love the opening shot of Back to the Future.
Well, the one shot.
Yeah, which goes on forever. It wouldn't be your whole 10 minutes, but it would be a substantial part of it.
It's about 3 minutes.
But you wouldn't get the general concept of the film.
Serenity has an amazing opening. Oh, you'd have to jump... No, because Serenity has a terrible opening, but it has the first shot of the one long shot through the ship is amazing. Yeah, I think this has a lot of potential.
I think there's potential.
I think that's a good idea. Anyway, that's one idea of two.
Okay, go for if that's first. What on earth has he been holding back on us?
The second idea, this is much more for my benefit. The people like us who have a semi-popular website, who run a little website, has a few thousand readers every day.
He might think you're semi-popular. I appreciate every one of you.
No, I think the website is semi-popular. Shut up. Don't try and get them around your side.
They all love me more.
Check the comments. If you get people like us,
that's going to be our next vote then. Dan or what?
Or Frank would win. If you got the people like me who run a website and you who co-run the website and things like that, and give them a free ticket to go see your film.
They already do that generally. I mean, press passes and things.
That's the bigger things. Target the smaller ones because I've got about 7 or 8 emails from people going, I saw Scott Pilgrim because you said it was good, it was brilliant, and stuff.
You need to send forward all of those emails onto Universal.
Yeah, I should.
I'm not kidding. You need to send all of those to Universal, and then they'll start sending you free tickets.
You see, but that's the sort of thing we need to do. Yeah, that's the sort of thing we need to do. Because if a minimum of 8 people then, back when the site was quite a bit newer, 8 people said, yeah, we saw the film because this one person saw the film, giving out 1 ticket and getting 8 in return, huge amount of people.
Yeah, this is sort of getting back to what we were saying earlier.
Yeah. One more thing I want to say before we close this up.
But they do sort of do that, but expanding that's very good.
Yeah.
It's things like sending those websites that are friendly and supportive of you to Comic-Con and things. I know Disney sent Natalie Tran, who's a big YouTube blogger, runs the community channel. Might just be called Community Channel or not the Community Channel. But nevertheless...
Hi.
Hi, yeah, exactly. But they sent her up to Comic-Con to go, oh, Disney films are fantastic.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Fairness,
you need
sometimes
to
they are.
Target the smaller people who have because it's not a big corporate image. I don't think we come across as corporate in any sense of the word.
Speak for yourself. I wear a suit every day.
You do. I'm currently wearing a Tim Minchin t-shirt and jeans.
There we are. Together we are both corporate and non-corporate.
But it's the little... Because if you read... If, like, Kotaku goes, go see this film, it's amazing, and you go, If, like, a website you visit daily and you sort of... You like the person who does it, I think people kind of like me. I hope you do. If you don't, fuck you! If you don't, I'm sorry. But getting those sort of people who go... It's sort of your mate, isn't it? You don't trust the big reviews and stuff, but your mate goes, oh, you tried this, it's great. You go, oh, I'll try it.
Oh, it's true. I mean, in particular, things like... Twitter and Facebook are having a profound effect on movie going, because nowadays, here's the thing, you went to see a good movie, anything other than the absolute brilliant things like, Scott Pilgrim, where you physically had to tell everyone you met about how fantastic this film was. But
so you saw it.
Yeah. But any sort of, just quite good movies, you just didn't have that advantage of being able to go, hey, this was a quite good film that I saw.
Yep.
Because they sort of slightly slip your mind. And luckily, now you can just say, hey, I went to see this movie on Twitter, and possibly the only good thing about Twitter. Anyway, Twitter and Facebook, that you then have that actually a quality check through friends and things.
I'm actually completely amazed at that idea I came up with on the spot here for the TV. We have to talk to someone about that.
We do. We'll write it up as a pitch.
I think we should end this rant and chatty pitty goes. But one thing first that I wanted to mention a while ago, which is about product placement. If you put a product placement in a game, like they've done with Bionic Commando was a good example of this, with Pepsi everywhere. Pepsi everywhere. Let me do the things I can do to other things to your thing. Because they had the vending machines. You could throw around every vending machine, but the Pepsi vending machines were solid and you couldn't move them because it was Pepsi. If you want to put your thing in a game, your thing's going to get destroyed. Do not argue. It's why Ferrari's won in Gran Turismo 4.
That's very true. You do have to acknowledge that you're going to win some points. In fact, even better than that, give trophies for finding them.
Yeah.
In fact, quite frankly, trashing every Pepsi vending machine would be a brilliant trophy, and would certainly make everyone spend the whole of their lives, or at least, while they're playing the game and while they're out in the real world, you'd just be looking for Pepsi things.
Yeah.
Do you know how much that would be worth? Seriously.
Why aren't we in charge of advertising? We'd do such a better job.
We would.
We would. Oh, no, we've solved...
If you happen to be looking for some advertising people, what the hell? Contact us at Nerd³.
We've solved the crisis of advertising the film and television industry. Right, what's the second topic of discussion?
Next topic of discussion is 3D. So yeah, I'd like to do some talk on 3D.
Ooh, 3D, let's go for it.
Okay, now, I like to think of myself as a 3D expert, despite the fact that I've only made one 3D film, which you can find on our Machinima section.
Yep, up top.
And so if you go there and look for Time Worn Origins, and you've got some... Okay, now, red or blue or red and green glasses will both work. Mm-hmm. So if you have either of those, red and blue is better. Technically, red and... anti-red, as I like to call them, because blue is a very precise colour. That's getting too technical. Let's not bore everyone. Okay, I like to think of myself as someone who understands these things, and so this conversation goes to everyone in the 3D world, with the exception of people who've made things that I think are better than mine. Mm-hmm. So that's anyone who made Night and Day, You've been making very good 3D. That's the short film before
short
Toy
film,
Story.
Yeah, not the crappy Tom Cruise thing. A
Yeah.
kind of fun Tom Cruise.
So anyone involved in that particular project, well done. You don't have to listen to this. You can keep doing whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
And
No, it's Pixar, by the way.
And people,
And
not Pixar in general. No, just the people of that particular short film, and the people of
Pixar made that.
Yeah, but they had different directors to different other directors. Pixar's a big company. It's a bit like saying all of Disney was a Disney film. Therefore, all Disney films should be exempt.
I like to imagine that it does.
Only the few people who are involved in that project. Anyway, also people involved with quite a few 3D rides in Florida I've really enjoyed, in particular Terminator 3D and the Spider-Man ride.
Whoever did the 3D for the Doctor Who experience, that was bloody mind-blowing. That is the best 3D I've ever seen.
Okay,
the Weeping Angel at the end, seriously.
But there are some people who have done 3D...
You didn't watch it, did you? I forgot.
So the people who've done some 3D specialist work...
That blog will be done. I'm having to edit it down from the 29 pages of how much I love Doctor Who. But that blog should be up soon, so...
So there are a few specialist pieces of 3D that have actually been done quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
However, in the general film world, I haven't really seen anything. So I'm going to put down some rules, and there are various people in particular that I'm looking at.
I have a specific one to do as well.
Well, we'll start off with production companies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 2D to 3D conversion.
Don't do it, ever.
Firstly, this is really bad, and I'll tell you who this is worse for more than anyone else. You.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're producing a movie, firstly, it makes bad 3D films. You're there going, well, why do I care? As long as they're spending more money on the ticket. Well, here's the thing. If you want to keep charging more money for the ticket, you need to keep making people want to watch 3D films.
Yep.
And you do that by making good 3D films. There is a much, much bigger reason why you care about this. And this is going to go against your gut instinct, okay? Because I know your gut instinct says, I want to make cheap movies and charge more for them. Here's the problem, right? The film market's going through a digital revolution. Great digital cameras are coming out. In particular, Red as a company who makes cameras are making very, very good cameras very, very cheaply. Some of the reasons why TV is getting so close to competing with film in quality is to do with the fact that cameras are getting better and cheaper, and that lighting can be, on digital cameras, lighting can be done quicker. You can get digital cameras run quicker. It takes a lot of time to change a film cartridge. It takes very little time to change a CF card.
Done.
So, as you guys could probably work out, it's a lot easier when you've got a screen in front of you rather than working on a collection of equations. Things like working out focus is a lot easier. Basically, in general, your industry, as people who put big amounts of money in, and therefore you run the industry because you have big amounts of money, you're in danger because the independent market is actually able to compete with you. Obviously, there are a few things like sci-fis where you still have the edge.
I don't know.
But
Moon
even
was
having
done
said that,
low budget.
But even having said that, there are things like, well, as we said, Battlestar Galactica is still probably the best-looking sci-fi we've had in quite some time.
True.
And that was done on a TV budget as opposed to a film budget. So
somehow
you are in, and Doctor Who's looking pretty impressive too. And
they've just do good effects.
And they've just suddenly taken a huge price drop. So the comment is where your money can go to make things better is becoming tricky. You want to separate your film from TV. You want to make it look like it's worth more. 3D is a really good thing. Firstly, it's twice as much cameras, and as soon as you've got double the price of cameras again, it starts getting out of the range of the lower filmmakers, which is, although not necessarily great for filmmakers, is good for you guys. Yeah, I'm aware I'm telling you how to screw the people that I like to think of myself as one of them. But nevertheless, that's what you want to do. So, you want to do that. It takes a lot longer. You have to spend a lot more time making a 3D shot properly because you have to go back to that. Let's spend lots of time on equations and making sure that everything matches up, and let's spend lots of time taking each and every shot. you take those extreme amounts of time, yes, it's going to cost more for your film, but it means that your film becomes in a financial bracket that the other that the other films can't compete with. If you want to stop independent films from competing with you because you're in a different league, do that. And then when that happens, and the normal TV is going to start trying to compete with you, and they're going to start trying to compete with you by saying things like, hey, look, I can use a 3D converter. At that point, you want to go, 3D conversion is a pile of shite, and it's absolutely stupid, anyone who actually wants to see this. And when they say, yeah, but you did it first, at that point, you want to go, yeah, but we didn't do it for very long before we realised it was a bad move. And learn that quicker rather than later. Particularly now the red cameras are so light, you can actually do an awful lot with them.
True. Nerd³ is sponsored by Red Cameras. Red Cameras Association.
I wish we were sponsored by Red Cameras. So that's just my first step, which is the production side of things. Producers, pay attention to it. Okay. Also, can people stop saying this? And this is something that the head of Red, who, as we've mentioned, is sort of a god idol, idol of mine. And he's sort of made a comment of but if you shoot a film in 3D, you can make a 2D cut of it, okay? In 99% of the time, this guy is perfectly correct. In this case, he was wrong. Uh-huh. You cannot make a 2D version of a 3D film by cutting out half of it, because there are things that are contradictory. It's a bit like saying, a good example of how these things are different is like colour and black and white. Mm-hmm. Now, I know we did go through the phase of people going, well, you can make a colour film and make it into black and white, but you know what? You want to do it properly? You can't. Because good makeup for black and white films looks really shit in colour, because you have to cheek marks have to be overly marked out, which looks silly in colour. It's also quite tricky to shoot in colour, because you shoot it in colour and everyone's going, my makeup looks crap, and you're going, no, it would look good. Look, here's a photograph of you in black and white, and they go, oh yes, I look wonderful in black and white, and you go, and that's what the film's going to be in, so don't worry. Yep. You've got to push those things, and it's things like that if you're shooting it in colour and you don't end up with that, you're going to end up with bad makeup in your black and white version, or vice versa. Same things happens with shadows. You watch, we're Nerd³, let's go with Star Trek. The original season of Star Trek, when they just started to go to colour, you look at all of the lighting, and it's actually black and white lighting rather than colour lighting. And there's lots of things like overly bold colours, because you needed bright and dark colours because of the contrast ratios were more important. And you end up with, in particular, there's a look they like where there's a bit of light that goes just over the eyes. Yep. Looks brilliant in black and white. Just looks a bit weird in colour. That's true. And I'm not just making this up, because you'll notice that there is it's even an homage in the new movie by J.J. Abrams. Did an homage shot with the captain with just the shot of light over his eyes, and if you listen to the commentary, you will notice this is not something I'm just making up. It's a shot that doesn't work, but has become something that's classic and part of that era, and it actually worked quite well in the movie. Yep. So we'll ignore that. But in general, and we had it also with Doctor Who, that if you've got shadows, someone who's in a shadow in a black and white movie is invisible. Yep. Someone in a shadow in a colour movie is visible. There is a huge difference between invisible and visible. Okay, so you can't really interconnect between the two. If you're making a black and white movie, you make a black and white movie. If you make a colour movie, you make a colour movie. You can't actually cross those properly and say, I'm going to make something that's a bit one and a bit other. You're going to lose points. The same thing's true of 3D. In particular, depth of field. So few people have worked out that depth of field
makes your brain scream in pain.
Basically, in 3D, if you've got depth of field, you might as well just say, hey, I got 3D. What are we going to do with it? Nothing.
No,
Depth of field kills your
having
depth
depth
perception.
of field is like going, hey, I have some migraine juice. Let's rub that in your eyes while you're watching this on IMAX. The people who made Tangled has some amazing 3D. It's really well done. It's not in-your-face 3D. It's the subtle 3D that adds to the depth of the picture, like Toy Story. It's very well done. They have one shot, which is the big main romantic shot of some lanterns going up, and it is a depth of field shot. So the lanterns are in 3D and nice, but if your eye strays slightly from them, you're just faced with something blurry that's trying to be 3D, and that is just headache-inducing and evil. Stop doing depth of field, please.
And this is all coming back to the point that I was making. Depth of field is really good for 2D. In fact, there's nothing I love more than excessive depth of field in 2D shots. It does a really good job of saying, this is the background, this is the foreground.
Yeah, look at this bit.
Basically, we have to relearn how to compose a shot to make that happen inside a 3D shot, and you include all of the background. If you've got, in reality, what you really want for a really nice personal shot in a 2D film is you want a really far background shot, like lanterns in the background, and you can then make all of the background fuzzy. So then the only thing that's really crisp is the person themselves that you're looking at, and there's just this small stuff happening in the background. It works really nicely, absolutely amazing. Really bad for 3D.
Yep.
You work with 3D, what you actually want is someone to stand next to a wall, okay? Because
Pretty
you
much.
put a wall in behind them, then your 3D pointers that you're taking from are from the back of the head to the front of the head. That means all of their face is 3D, and you get none of that background. The less background you have, the more 3D you can make it.
Yeah.
Because you have to compensate for it. This is another thing. You have to be aware that you can move your cameras quite a fair bit apart if you want to do so. You should never have a camera with fixed iris control, and I'm including this to mean anything using... I know there's some people trying to use the same lens. Quite frankly, you should be able to... if you're doing really long zoom-in shots, which we know as filmmakers we like to do quite a bit, you need to be able to actually take your cameras apart by sort of meters and things. You actually need to have a lot of leeway in how much you can move these things. I know I've done the maths. Oh, so much maths. So yeah, so basically we need to completely relearn how to compose shots. We need to redo these things. We need to...
Closer, smaller, more detail, good. Big, expansive, open, bad.
Also going along this line... slower.
Yeah,
3D,
no quick pans.
3D is all done with intensive processing in the human brain.
Yep.
It takes a lot longer for you to work things out, which means that you, much as I love really fast editing and really fast-paced cutting and motion blur and things are really nice in 2D films, all of those are killers for 3D.
Yep.
Any one of those, and your brain... your buffers in your brain just can't handle it, even those who are really good at handling 3D. And believe it or not, there is actually variation in how well certain people can handle 3D, so you have to allow for that too. So my comment is that basically, if you're making a 3D film...
you're making a 3D
even
film.
if you're a brilliant director, you need to have made your own short film of 3D and made sure you've got it right. And if you're making a 3D film, it should be in 3D, and it shouldn't be made for 2D, or it should be made for 3D, but always any 2D version you should be aware that that's going to be a shit version of your film.
Yep.
And the opposite should be true. If you're making a 2D film, make a 2D film, and do not make it a 3D copy of it.
Yep.
Just to make some money. Well, not if you're a production, because you're just ruining and one hopes that if you're independent you have some artistic integrity, but I'm never going to win that argument with the production companies.
I like 3D. I like to see 3D when you go and see a 3D film at the IMAX, because that's where I love watching film. I mean, is there anywhere else to see a 3D film or any film? But it adds a good 3D on a big screen is an event, and it's a spectacle, and it's worth actually paying the money to go and see. But watching crappy 3D that someone's thrown together just to get the views,
I think something that got edited out of our last podcast, and so I'm going to bring it up again because, okay, my favourite director as just a director is Baz Luhrmann. Mm-hmm. And I love him because he does lots of sped up shots. He does lots of insanely fast editing
that you'll never see. Certain
beautifully tight depth of field. He's a fantastic director, and every time I end up with trouble with how should I shoot something, I watch Moulin Rouge again and see him work out what Baz did. It is one of the most... that, for me, is a fantastic piece and almost proof of why the Oscars are rubbish. I mean, it won Best Production Design, which it did have, but it also had Best everything else. Scott Pilgrim got nominated for nothing.
Pilgrim didn't win Best Editing. The Social Network apparently had better editing than Scott Pilgrim. Dear Oscars people, we reject all Oscars that you will ever... this is the thing.
Don't tell them that. I want to reject it in person.
Well, we're going to say...
Not that we're ever going to win one,
because
we want to make films like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah. If we ever won an Oscar for our film work, we would reject it on stage.
Damn right.
We would reject it. I'd be in drag because I could, and we would
I was
reject
going for drag too.
It doesn't matter. We'll both go in drag. It's fine. Flamingos. We could be flamingos.
No, you can't go in flamingos. You have to wear a suit or a ball gown.
Flamingos in suits.
So if we were to go, we'd have to go in ball gowns if we're going in drag.
Fine by me. We'd essentially, we would go on there and go, we hate what you've done. I mean, I did a blog on this the other day. There's been 83 Oscars. How many films I would consider like good films? There's a few that I would consider good films, but films I actually like that have won Best Oscar, one, and that's Forrest Gump.
Yeah, I'll admit it's a pretty low number.
I mean, The Godfather's up there, but that's only okay in my book. There's better Matthew things.
I haven't got the list, and I've already gone far too much. But basically, my comment is, Baz Luhrmann's brilliant. He's got Carey Mulligan on his new film, who is also an amazing actress. So, very much looking forward to that. And I've now found it's going to be shot in 3D, and I'm sort of there going, Baz Luhrmann is the complete antithesis of brilliant 2D.
Yeah.
But unless he's spent a lot of time, and it has been quite a bit of time since he's done Australia, so he possibly has been spending a lot of time learning 3D traits. But I do want... I do hope that he has looked for 3D and worked out what he can do, because his speeding up time can still work in 3D, as long as he makes sure his cameras are synced, which nowadays is pretty good with syncing cables, that you can do his sped up motion. But he is going to have to be a lot slower on his cutting, and he is going to have to stop using those insane depths of fields. So
it's not going to look very Baz Luhrmann.
Well, here's the thing. I think Baz Luhrmann's good enough that he can adapt. But unless he says, I'm going to adapt and I'm making a 3D film, and if he doesn't go around going, this is a 3D film and anyone who watches it in 2D is just silly. And if he doesn't do that, and he doesn't approach the film from that perspective, this film it's going to be a 2D film, and there should be no point in him shooting it in 3D.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think he's committed to a camera yet, and if I can just recommend Red, because I'm sure Baz Luhrmann listens to everything I say.
We will be able to watch the first 10 minutes of it on our brand new television show.
That's true, and we'll be able to tell how much depth of field and things there is.
If we can't do that on the TV, we should do this on the site, I think. We should ask for the first 10 minutes in an attempt to sell more tickets.
Maybe. We'll see.
I think that's that on 3D.
On to questions and answers now.
No, nothing else to talk about? Then questions and answers time!
I'm sure we've got lots of other things to talk about. We just haven't got the time.
I've got the time. I've got to rush off.
We've got other weeks too. Okay.
That's true. Ready? I don't remember the question.
Time for question.
Yeah, that's it. We don't have anything.
No, that's not right.
And that might be it.
Oh, you got questions. We're going to answer them. Questions and answers. Woo. Woo! How have I become the only one who can remember that when you wrote it and I have no musical talents?
Mad cow.
Oh, yeah.
I have mad cow.
Nice to know you're keeping in contact with our Boston legal theme.
Denigrate.
Okay, questions. So our first...
Objection!
Ow.
No, I'm well too close.
So our first...
Objection!
So our first question comes from...
Sustained. I sustained these questions. Skip them. Okay, it's time for gaming news.
You had gaming news, yes.
We do have gaming news. I should have done this at the start. It doesn't matter. Gaming news. The Elder Scrolls, whatever number next.
5, I believe it is.
5? Elder Scrolls 5?
I know, it's only been 5. It feels like so many more.
I'd like Morrowind Oblivion. I haven't played the other two.
Actually, it might have been 6.
Whatever.
I don't
know.
I don't
pay
attention.
Really care. The Skyrim trailer came out showing in-game gameplay. And my general excitement rose and rose and rose and rose and rose. And then at one moment, plummeted to the earth, and I realised I'm not going to buy the game.
What
without
happened?
modding. Giant spiders.
Another game bites the dust.
Just as a quick point, there are giant spiders in Oblivion. Yeah, that you can fight. What I did in Oblivion, because I don't like things that jump at you. Okay, I don't like head crabs. I don't like that sort of thing. I don't care if they're spiders or spider-like.
I don't like
just
things that
cannot,
jump out at you either.
It's the jumpy out sort of thing. I just cannot stand in video games.
I just hate them in general.
Weeping Angel.
In life, in computer games, in films.
It's true. If people jump at me, I tend to punch them in the face and pretend.
Pieces.
Yeah. It's in a film where it's all quiet and you know it's going to go, oh shit, you're scared.
In puppet shows.
Yeah, it's that sort of, I don't like those. But anyway,
and shadow puppets.
In Oblivion, to get rid of the...
in crime.
Shut up!
I don't like rapists jumping out and scaring the hell out of me.
Shut up! I just want to get done. I've got to go soon.
Okay.
In Oblivion, because there's the giant spiders and things, what I did was I deleted the models for all the spiders, and I found being attacked by giant floating yellow exclamation marks, which are the sign of model unavailable, was a lot easier to bear because they're quite nice and easy to see. So I'm going to have to do that for Skyrim, I think. I'm going to have to face off against an army of invading giant exclamation marks.
Okay.
As is my right. Yeah, but that trailer looks cool.
My opinion on spiders has already been put through, that all spiders should be censored. I have optional censor boxes.
That's the thing. I want to get into the Skyrim so much, but then I go, it has horror bits. I don't like horror bits in games. It's like, we've got to crawl through dungeons. Don't like crawling through dungeons. Oh, to be fair,
it's got no Patrick Stewart this time, has it?
I don't know. Probably does. It probably has a cast of everyone ever.
I don't know. Patrick Stewart was in the last one.
It looks kind of fun. Oh well, it doesn't matter.
Anyway,
what else do we talk about?
Have you got any site news?
We hit Comic 100. Woo!
Indeed.
We did. 100 comics. Whee! Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
I hit that ages ago.
Shut your face, you didn't.
Sorry, we are recording this slightly earlier than we normally do, so slightly further away from Friday.
Oh, yeah.
That's just because both me and Dan are pretty busy at the moment, so this was the only time we could make.
That's true.
And we didn't want to miss another week.
We didn't. We have stuff to talk about. Or we did. We've done it now.
Yeah.
That was essentially all of it.
Have we got anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay, so...
keep tuning, keep reading.
Keep tuning in, keep
pitching.
reading.
Oh, I am looking for a...
Keep asking questions.
Yes, always ask questions for this podcast. As you can see, we answer them incredibly humorously.
Pop in, say hi on the forums.
If any of you...
To Dan.
Turn up to the forums, goddammit. If any of you have any ability at making an intro Nerd³ Productions thing for machinima videos and films and stuff, if we ever get really just a short intro piece in a 3D modelling software or After Effects or something, just to have Nerd³ Productions for any machinima videos and stuff I make, I want to stick it in front of it. Then give me contact or submit some work stuff. I've already had one, and it was a picture drawn.
I loved it. It was brilliant.
2.5 seconds.
I think you should go with that one.
Great email. I actually might do. I have to get a class to shout that out if we do it. I'd quite like get my mum's class to go Nerd³ Productions, and they all shout that and record that. Yeah, we actually do that. And then what we'll do is we'll edit it to say something rude. Oh wait, no, you don't have to do that anymore. Oh God.
What do you mean anymore?
God, that poor man.
Anyway,
God, internet. Can't make jokes on the internet. This is a disclaimer. Everything we said was bullshit, apart from the fact that TV show is ours.
Yeah.
We came up with it. Or we will sell it for $1 million. That'll work.
Whatever.
No, I don't mean dollars. £1 million.
£1 million.
Each.
Work with real money.
Yeah. Right, I think that's everything then. Thanks for listening, guys. See you next week, probably. Well, not see you. You'll hear us. We won't have any actual physical contact with you. So, hear us next week. See you later, guys.
Hear us next week. Bye.
Bow, bow, down, 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 down.
Oh my! Bow, 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 bow. Oh,
bow, bow, down, 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 down.
Oh,
bow, bow, down, down.
Oh, dung, 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 dung. Bow, 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 bow. Don't, don't, bow, 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 bow.
I've given up. Let's just go home. Well, that was a good podcast. I think that went well.
I think it did, too.
I think it went well. Why are people still listening to us?
Why are you still listening?
Stop it.
I think it's because we
Stop it
normally
now.
put a whole load of mistakes at the end, but I don't think we've got any.
No, I don't think so.
They must still be listening because they think that we've screwed up, but it turns out we've become more professional.
Maybe.
It took us 10 podcasts to get there.
Yeah, it's true. I think we should have a silence now, just so they know it's coming. No, we're actually kidding. We're lying. There's not even a silence.
No, there's not even silence.
No, we should. This is like one of those. No, you hang up.
No, you hang up. No, you hang up.
No, we'll hang up. See you later.
No, you hang up. Okay, so this is me while editing, and obviously at the time we had that nice cocky ending of going, oh yes, we're wonderful and we're perfect. What we didn't allow for was the computer ate my podcast, meaning the question and answer section no longer exists. So we're very sorry for that. We will get this fixed next week. We will re-answer all of those questions, and we're very sorry. In our defence, it was a really long podcast anyway, so probably be a questions and answers only next week, and we're really sorry. Just sort of have this sort of Scrubs reference, so I'll leave you with this. Mistake!
All together now. Lesbian. I also like to watch. How many people...
Right, that's enough.